Land grabbing and the disputes arising from it have dogged Lagos and most Nigerian cities for some years. Another of such disputes is raging in Ajiran land, Ojomu community in Itiosa local government area of Lagos State. To stem the precarious security situation in the area, a non-governmental organization, Center for Human and Socio-Economic Rights, has petitioned the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, to intervene in the unlawful activities of land grabbers who constitute threats to public peace in the community. The group asked the House and the police to put an end to intimidation of community leaders and demanded justice for the mother of the youth leader in the area. Julie, we are aware in some areas we see these people, they are semi-lords. If you report them in the nearest police station, you can't get justice. They understand the way that place operates and they're like owners of that particular area. So, and this is happening in Lagos State, and this is so rampant in Lagos Island. So just shed more light on this particular case we are talking about now.
No, it is in Etiosa local government. The community is Ojomu, and it's part of Ajiran. Ajiran is a larger community.
Yeah.
Ajiran, okay. Ajiran
land in Ojomu community.
Ojomu community. These are not areas that we are familiar with. But it is some places like Oshakwa, London, for example.
Okay.
It's part of...
Oshakwa, London is very popular.
Yes, and their traditional ruler is Oba Tijani Shateru II, of Ajiran land. He's a graduate of economics from the University of Ife. Back then, he graduated 49 years ago. He's one of the respected traditional rulers in Lagos. Unfortunately, his area, his kingdom has literally been taken over by thugs who are into serious land grabbing. And one of those thugs, notorious thugs, is said, they said that his name is Ahmed. He goes around. Sometimes he will even say, I don't want to see you in this community for the next 2 years. For fear of being killed, people will take off. What they do is, a plot of land validly bought and belonging to an individual, they will take it over. They will put their thugs on ground. That person cannot access his piece of land anymore. They will now bring the people that they sold it to. They will bring them. Those ones will begin to build in their presence, in the presence of their thugs. Once they finish building, that person will now sell to a third party. So you now see a plot of land already being disputed by 3 persons.
In the litigation, you are
being competed for, yes.
And somebody will just start building.
I was told that they have more than 150 court cases against these individuals because of the rampant acquisition, illegal acquisition of people's plots of land. Even
and the third party will just start building. You can finish it in 6 months.
So it's like the second party now. Literally, the second party is the one who has built.
On another person's land.
The way I explained it, you own the land.
Yes.
They sold your land to me.
Yes.
You have the title deeds. You have all
everything.
The papers.
While we're in
they acquired it. They took it over from you, chased you away. You can't access the place again because you know they are boys. They have guns and everything. They now sold it to me. After they sold it to me, they stood by me. I began to build rapidly. Within a short time, I finished building. I then sold to him, and I walked away. So you will find now that a plot of land 3 persons are in dispute over a plot of land. This is what these boys are doing. Meanwhile, Lagos State came up with a law,
Yes.
anti-tear grabbing law. Let me read some of the portions. It said, specifically section 2, subsection 1 of the law prohibits the use of force or self-help to take over any landed property or to engage in any act inconsistent with the proprietary right of the owner. The law criminalizes the use of threat or violence for the purpose of securing entry into any landed property, either for oneself or for another without lawful authority. The provisions of the law in section 4 criminalizes any encroachment on people's properties and provide for fine not exceeding 5 million or 5-year imprisonment or both against any such behavior. There is something that I saw when I was reading it that, now let me just read down briefly. The law seeks to eliminate land grabbing in its various forms that include forceful possession of landed properties, encroachment, illegal sale and resale of land, illegal use of law enforcement agents. Did you hear that? Illegal use of law enforcement agents and vigilante groups to enforce judgments, misconduct by professionals in the land transaction, writing of frivolous and false petitions and all that. There are people in the Ministry of Land, I mean in the, yes, who connive with these bad boys, these roughnecks, to give them title deeds on plots of land that originally did not belong to them. So it means as they are using the police, they are also using people in the Ministry of Land. But what is particularly worrisome is the resort to violence in that Ojomu land. They are now, they beat up, there is a particular Balogun of Ojomu
community.
Yes. They beat him up inside the palace. This was just some days back, you know, because they are celebrating. People can't move freely now unless they have soldiers, because it appears it's only soldiers that they fear. They do not fear the police. The police have had their hands soiled by criminal collusion with some of these boys. You will always find yourself in a situation where people will say, okay, let's take the matter to Abuja, because they will think that within the Lagos jurisdiction,
you can't get justice.
You cannot get justice. That is the point. The boy who was killed, what's his name again? Sheriff Ishola Salami, who was killed. They are accusing the police of not investigating the petition regarding his murder. And they are saying, look, there has to be a thorough and impartial investigation so that the people behind this killing can be unmasked. And that is what their lawyer, Ayodele Aribisala, is asking for.
That murder took place in April.
Yes.
April.
Up till now, no headway. These boys, that is why these boys can stand in the middle of the town and say, you, I don't want to see you again. Because they are already seeing themselves as little gods. Because at the end of the day, you think, okay, police will not do anything. This is what they get away with.
We are the landlords. Yeah.
So what is the point? And you know, in those areas, up to Eleganza, that Eleganza estate, is part of that
Ojomu community.
Ojomu, I think. Ojomu, I think that's the correct spelling. Yes, Osakpa, London, you know, that beautiful place near Lekki is also part of their...
Very expensive.
But the thing is, yes,
land in
that area, there is no, it's not as if there are still plenty of plots of land. So they are forcefully taking over people, and they are beating up people. If you try to get in their way, they will use force against whether you are a traditional ruler or not. And that is what, in a country governed by laws, a state governed by law, these boys, and they know them. We don't have to show their videos before you know them. They have to rein in these boys.
They've taken over everything in the area.
Has a responsibility to ensure that a breakdown of law or another does not happen. Look at a situation where they are petitioning the speaker of the House of Reps. That's an indictment. That's like saying, no,
Yes,
we have
from-
lost faith
from
in the
the
people in
state-
Lagos.
Yeah,
from the
exactly,
state government,
exactly.
they have to
From
go
state
to
yeah.
the House of Rep. Because on Monday now, they are going to have their anniversary for the traditional ruler.
The climax of the,
Yes,
the
and
30th anniversary.
they are afraid that these
These people
people
will come and
disrupt
disrupt
it.
things.
In
Because
this
they've been
Lagos,
beating up
this
people.
Lagos. Oh,
You know, the problem with our state, our society, is not the absence of laws. You know, there are laws prohibiting land grabbing. But those laws are there, but nobody's executing them. And that's the problem. Land grabbers have for long in this state reigned with nobody, have reigned, you know, with nobody checking
All
them.
themselves are Jagunbale.
Ajagungbọ̀gà, ṣé orúkọ nìyẹn? You know?
very good title. Very
If you
good
want to
title.
Jagun,
Very good.
go to northwest and north
No, it's
and
very
fight
shameful.
bandits.
These people are no stranger to police arrest. They are no stranger to court cases. And yet they continue in their reign of infamy. And nobody does anything about it. You know, the most upsetting thing is that you now petition a law enforcement agency, you don't get joy. Police have many times been accused of this. The case of Mohbad is still fresh in the mind. You understand? Petition the police, and the police did nothing. Because policemen themselves are in cahoots with these criminal elements. But beyond even petitioning the House of Reps, you know, of course, petition the House of Reps will invite the police, they will talk and talk and talk. I think they should go to the court to make an order to compel the police to do the proper thing. You know, it's also possible they can go to the court and say, this. Somebody was murdered. Nothing has been done about it. So court, help us, compel the police to make the investigation. Whether they call the land, whatever they call themselves, these people are terrible. There are even other people that, among these unscrupulous elements, even your own house, if you want to do a restructuring in your house, they will come. I used to belong to a church that the building collapsed. I mean, it was a very bad, and I think I was even there that the section collapsed. I escaped. And then we were trying to rebuild. You know, that was a tragedy. As people came, I saw 2 million, Abikini 5, just to rebuild your own structure.
That's
You
what they
can't,
do.
you can't build a wall around
And
the
then
house.
you don't know who to report to. You don't know who to talk to. You talk to police. Police can't help you. You have to start negotiating with these beasts. You understand? It's so terrible.
There is a place where, around Yakoyo, soldiers were brought in to help with decking the building. So these guys did not know that it was soldiers at work. So they came and were beating them because they were in mufti. They were beating them. So those soldiers pleaded with them, they begged them. Later the soldiers, they radioed their colleagues. Those guys came, and they too came down, wore their uniform. They had all those on Monile arrested. They were the ones who completed the decking that day. And you know, they are not used to doing that hard
Manual labor.
back pain.
Yes.
People who is a laborer,
always on
those who are laborers, they are used to it. They know the aboniki that they are going to use. You are not used to it. You are just used to collecting money up.
All right, joining us for more insights on this dispute is one of the victims. That's Dayo Joshua. Thank you for joining us, Dayo Joshua.
Yes, good evening.
Can you please
I've
tell
been
us about
listening
your experience here in this area in Lagos State? That's Ajiro land, Ojomu. Please call the place again.
Ojomu.
There is Ojomu Ajiro land. Ajiro land. My plot is specifically in Chevy View Estate. Chevy View Estate.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So
tell us about your experience.
What happened?
Okay, so I had bought my plot since 2012. Okay, it was fenced. I had some containers in it, gated, and I had security men at various times manning the place. So sometime in 2021, my security man calls me and says, somebody is at my plot with a bulldozer trying to break down my fence and my gate and scatter everything, So I was at work, so I ran to the place, and I addressed the gentleman that was trying to do that. And he said he had orders from his own boss, So I quickly went to zone 2. Okay. So policemen came, and then we all went back to the police station. These guys brought a document and said it was their land. So the police in zone 2 started an investigation and then told everybody to keep off until they conclude their investigation. We were on it for about a year, that till August 2022. The day the police called us to say, okay, we have finished our investigation, all the parties come and let us, present this thing. These guys brought another set of policemen from Alagbon in Ikoyi, another set of policemen. On the day we were supposed to be in zone 2, where all the parties, this guy, because the other party, his name is Frank Enendu. He's also called Fragile. Okay? Throughout the investigation, I understand they called and invited him, but he never showed up. Because, he runs around like you have been discussing. He goes around with retinue of policemen. So even the Nigerian police could not arrest him because he had policemen guarding him. So we got there, and then before I knew it, the guys, my security guy, who had instructed that, look, anybody that comes to the site, just take a video of the person. Do you know this policeman from Alagbon? They did not only beat my boy, they beat him, collected his phone that he was using to record, and went and locked him up for days. Of course, at this point, I was in zone 2, waiting for result of the investigation. Okay, so immediately I ran from zone 2 to Alagbon to say, look, why are you people doing this? This is a case that has been under investigation for a year at your sister station. They didn't even answer me. They took the boy, locked him up, my security man, and guess what his offense was? Because they actually charged him to court after we went to Federal High Court to enforce a fundamental human right. Okay? They now quickly charged him to magistrate court. And guess what his offense was? Videoing a policeman on duty. Videoing a policeman on duty. That was his offense. You will not believe it. And as I speak to you, we are still on that magistrate court case till now. Okay? We are also, of course, we have gone and we went to court because at that point, the police could not help us anymore. So we had to go to court, and we are in court. Of course, they know that the court processes take a long time. Meanwhile, this guy moved onto the land. This Frank Enendi, also called Fragile, moved onto the land and started building. But I have told them that I'm not the kind of person they will just push aside. Okay? I published on national newspaper that, nobody should buy this property. This property is in dispute. Okay? But of course, because he keeps on building because he knows that he will just sell it to an innocent person and the person will just buy and then it will be the person's problem. They would have gone out of it. But I've put enough notices at the property, enough. They keep cleaning it. Anytime I go and put notices there, they will clean it. Even the federal and state high court put notices there, they clean it, So, but we're in court, and we know we'll get justice because we also sued the KBAC because we thought that, maybe he sold the piece of land to 2 different people. But they have also replied to the court summons and said, no, this is the only person we sold to. We have no clue about where the other documents came from. And in a sane society, you would have thought that should end the process. But no, We are still there. This guy is still building.
Still
Okay,
building.
he's still building and using police, Nigerian police, to muzzle me away from the land. Nigerian police. Okay, we have put all the cases in court, the fundamental human rights and everything. We'll follow through it will take time, but I'm determined to follow through this process through, because this is a country of laws, for goodness sake.
Oh, wow.
You understand? There's no matter what you think you have in terms of power, you cannot be greater than God now. You cannot. You cannot. You know, and the truth was, my security men are OPC guards. You know, we employ OPC guards. You know, when this thing was happening, when the policemen were there, I averted danger because the guy had called their office and mobilized the other ones. And my younger brother was there. He told me, Oga, look, just call these people back. Because if there's a fracas between OPC and police and somebody dies, you know, the case will no longer be about land. It will now be about somebody who killed another person.
Dayo, we have to let you go. Thank you, Dayo Joshua, for that experience.
If it's necessary,
We will bring you back to come and you know, give us a kind of update. It's very difficult to be a law-abiding citizen in this country. Look at the level of oppression. They are building on his land. They are still working on that land. And the guy is
bring police to chase him away on the system. It's terrible. You know, they were telling me that Idado is part of their
that community.
Yes, part of the community, and that's where Naramali has his house. They are reselling people's plots of land in that place because it's not as if there is land. They are reselling people's plots of land.
So we have to call
people.
on the governor of Lagos State.
I don't understand.
Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, governor of Lagos State.
You see, it's not as if we don't have laws. Just as Paul said earlier, it's the enforcement that is the issue. There is no way that compromised security agents will enforce the law. They would rather work with crooked people because they are compromised.
How can somebody be in zone 2 and you're saying you want to go and bring people in Alagbon? Zone 2 is zonal headquarters for Lagos and Ogun State. A very bigger than Lagos State police community. And you're saying you are going to Alagbon to go and...
These are the things that these boys believe that because they have money that they can do what they like. How can an individual just stand in the middle of the town and say, you, 2 years, I don't want to see you here. You threaten housewife, you threaten people. Because you are not moneyless, you chose not to go to school when your mates were going to school. And you now live a life of criminality, extorting money from people, beating up people and taking their lands forcibly. I mean, in Lagos, cultism and this land grabbing are the most...
that's especially on that line now.
Activities that
drugs, cultism, land grabbing.
Somebody was saying that there are now more drug joints than churches and schools. It's true. You see communities now, drug boys, they've taken over and nobody's arresting them. We are going to feature some of those communities on this program in Lagos where these drug lords, they've turned the communities to their own. Even residents are scared. We have to do something about it. It's a city, it's a state governed by laws. We can't leave Lagos to never do well, to simply be doing what they like. Selling people's land to like 3 different persons.
Not even the intervention of the Oba of Lagos could even solve this particular case.
They don't have any
that area.
They have no respect for any institution. They have respect for the police, national institution, even the judiciary, the court. They have no respect for the court. A case is subsists in court. You are still going there to build.
No.